welcome everyone to the Tuesday, January 2nd, January 20th. I'm so glad it's right there. I still messed it up. Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 Village Council meeting. Am I allowed to, I do the call to order, or you, so I'm calling to order, and then you're gonna do roll call.
And I will do roll call because we are without our clerk tonight. So Councilmember Pierce?
Here.
Councilmember Samari?
Here.
Councilmember Brown?
Here.
Vice President Shu? Here. And President DeVore Leonard?
Here. Okay, and now we're doing the swearing in so that,
You're going to deputize Johnny as deputy clerk because per charter, we have to have a clerk present at every meeting.
okay, do we have to get like a motion for this or
In
something?
Judy's absence, we do this. You do not. You just need to
Okay.
swear him in.
All right, I'm gonna read this. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws of the United States
and obey the laws of the United States
and the state of
and
Ohio,
the state of Ohio,
that I will in all respects
that I will in all respects
observe the provisions of the Charter
observe the provision of the charters
and ordinances of the Village of Yellow Springs,
and the ordinances of the Village of Yellow Springs,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Deputy Clerk of Council.
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Deputy Clerk of Council.
Okay, you are hereby deputized. Okay. Okay, so now we can just go like normal, right? Amy? Okay, so are there any announcements?
I actually, there's a letter that I want to read, it's a statement. And I'm not going to, the statement is, we want to take a moment to speak directly to our community, especially those who may be feeling anxious, uncertain, or afraid because of reports of federal immigration activity in and around our region. First and foremost, Yellow Springs is and remains a welcoming community. This is not just a sentiment. It's a formal commitment adopted by this village and carried out in practice every day. So, under Village Resolution 2018-42, the Yellow Springs Police Department does not participate in federal immigration enforcement. Our officers do not use village funds, equipment, or personnel to investigate or detain anyone based on immigration status. We do not ask about immigration status during our routine work. Our mission is simple and unwavering: to keep everyone safe and to ensure that every resident, regardless of status, feels safe, calling for help without fear. We also believe it's important to be transparent about what our police can and cannot do, and this has been mentioned. Basically, the police cannot help or hinder. If federal immigration agents are present somewhere in the village, our officers' role is not to assist those agents, nor is it to act as legal counsel for private parties. Our role is of that of peacekeeper, to ensure that situations remain calm, nonviolent, and safe for everyone involved. The police, again, do not have legal authority to interfere or obstruct federal agents. While we may not agree with federal actions, every federal action, we're bound by law to respect jurisdictional limits, which everyone knows. When officers are present at such scenes, they are there solely to maintain public safety and prevent harm, not to participate in enforcement activities. If business owners or residents assert their rights, such as posting non-consent signage, which is very important, our officers acknowledge those positions with respect. However, a legal dispute related to federal enforcement is a matter between that individual and the federal government. The village does not adjudicate those disputes and will not escalate them. That being said, there are groups organizing in town, and it's very important that if this is a matter that's close to your heart, to get educated about what to do. That's it.
Cool, thank you. Appreciate you working on that and putting that together, yeah. Other announcements that folks have?
I do have one. Ben, can you pull up that picture? We want to welcome Bennett Paul Ott.
What's up?
Brad and his wife received their fourth baby on Thursday. It was not scheduled until February. So they are home. They went back today for
When I
some
get there.
some minor issues, but the family is doing good, and we will see Brad back to work in a couple of weeks. He's taken some time off to be with his 4 youngins and his wife. So we welcome Brad, or Bennett Paul. Oh, so that is what I have.
Any other announcements? Okay. The next thing up is the consent agenda. So this is for the minutes and then the credit card statement. So I forget how is, you want a motion to not talk about them, or how, what do I say?
You can just make a motion to approve the consent
Okay.
agenda.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for January 5th, or can you do them both in one pass?
You can do them both in one pass, or
Okay,
you can do
I'll
them
make,
separately.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor, say
So
aye.
second, yeah.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. The next up is the review of the agenda, the time where we're looking over the agenda, and if there's anything that you want to add or change or have questions about, you do it now. Okay?
I do have one. In this section right now, so for instance, mayor's monthly meeting, et cetera, if we had a question regarding the actual content within it, is this where we would ask that question?
I think it's a good question. I mean, in practice, what it seems like is that if there's some quick, immediate question that can be answered right here, then I think we've done it. If it feels like it's anything more than a quick thing, then in general, it's been either add it to the agenda. So let's just say you're like, the mayor's clerk quarterly thing brought up this big, complicated thing for me. Then you would say, in future agenda, you'd say, hey, I want to create some space to talk about the monthly mayor's quarterly report.
Okay.
And then if it's a thing that is a staff issue, you would just ask staff after the meeting
Okay.
if there's any clarification.
So for instance, in this case, and this really, it's not like very pertinent, but there was a question regarding in October, it looked like in pages in here, but the YSPD had like double the number of total incidents in October than any other month. And it just looked like an outlier. And I was just wondering what that stemmed from, if it was like a singular act or if that's like a traditional. And so, again, being new, just wondering where would we ask a question similar to that? And this is more of a statement, more like, hey, where did this come from? Where did that number?
If you disagree, say so.
Where are you referring to?
The mayor's,
The mayor's quarterly report.
yeah.
That would probably be a email to Paige or Sergeant Watson.
And the other place would be, you could bring it up in the manager's
You could,
report.
yes.
And that's a good time to say, hey, there's a staff-related thing, and then probably Johnny's going to say, you could email.
And did you say it was October?
From October.
It's street fair.
See, there we go.
okay.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So I can answer that one. It's street fair.
Yeah, it jumped out.
Correct.
To me, and I was, okay.
You'll see it in June as well.
All right.
Okay. We good on the review of agenda? All right, petitions and communications. Angie, if you don't mind reading those.
The clerk will receive and file mayor's clerk regarding mayor's quarterly report, mayor's clerk regarding mayor's monthly, 2, Mitzi Miller regarding McKee Group event flyer, and Judith Hempling regarding citizen comment.
Okay. So now we're on to public hearings and legislation, and the first thing we're going to do is, if I could get a motion to read the emergency readings by title only, right?
Right.
Perfect, yes.
I move.
I'll second. And all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, and then, so now, Who am I asking to read things?
Sure, I can read it. We're going to start with the emergency reading of ordinance 2026-01. Oh, that's exciting, the first one of the year. And so typically you'd take a motion to approve in a second after, I can read it by title and then you'll go through
Okay.
the steps. All right, so this is an ordinance authorizing the annual transfer of funds and declaring an emergency.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Yeah, cool. Okay, and so we're going to start with some information, then we'll do a public hearing after that, right? Okay, so Michelle, looks like you're up and ready. Thank you.
All right, so, good evening. This is the annual transfer that we do, and I usually forget and don't do it until usually August, September. So, we're getting it to you in January, when it should be. It's just the annual transfer of funds to supplement into the other funds that we have. So there's the general fund transfer that you can see. I'm not going to read them all out, but if you have questions, you can ask me. Just basically, we're transferring money to the Street Maintenance Repair Fund, Parks and Rec Fund, Facilities Capital Improvement Fund, Capital Equipment, and the Widows Fund. And then below that, we're having inter-funds transferred from Parks and Rec to the Parks and Rec Capital Improvement Fund. We're transferring from Electric Fund to the Electric Capital Improvement Fund, and then the Sewer Fund to the Sewer Capital Improvement Fund. And these were put in the budget for 2026, so it's already listed as transfers, we're just transferring it now.
Okay. So I think we'll take questions from council, so you don't have to move, and then after Michelle's done, then we'll open it for a public hearing since it's emergency legislation, if anybody has any input. And then, then we'll come back for any questions from council before voting on it. So are there questions from council for Michelle?
Pretty straightforward.
And this is all just based on the budget?
Yes. Just housekeeping.
Okay, well, thanks, Michelle. So now we're going to open the public hearing. So because this is an emergency reading, and why do we do this one as an emergency? We don't usually do it until August anyway.
That way it takes effect immediately.
Okay, and so the benefit of taking effect immediately is that the funds have the appropriate amount sooner, and then we have less supplementals or less? Okay. So anyway, we're opening the public hearing. If anybody has any comments, now would be the time. Seeing no one jumping up, we will close the public hearing. And based on anybody have any questions? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Actually, Gavin, since this is an emergency
Yeah.
ordinance, if it's all right, we'll do a roll call vote.
Okay,
Okay, so we're going to take the vote on ordinance 2026-01. Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Councilmember Samari?
Yes?
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Shu?
Yes.
President DeBoer Leonard?
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, it passes, and we have to, on emergencies, you have to have 4 out of 5. So that's, I think, part of the reason. It's good for keeping the record, but also just know that on emergencies, it's got to be 4 out of 5 council members.
It's going to be a majority of council members in attendance.
For an emergency ordinance, it has to be a vote of 4.
Okay.
Because it's a 2/3 vote, and
Yeah.
4 is just the closest thing, right?
It's actually spelled out in our charter as
As
4.
4. Okay.
Has to have four. Okay.
Okay. We'll get to practice again here on emergency reading ordinance 2026-02. Amy, if you could read that by title only, please.
And I apologize, Gavin, when we made the motion to read by title only, did that apply to both of them when you took that ordinance?
Oh, definitely.
Motion, okay. Great. So we're going to read 2026-02 by title only. 2026 first quarter supplemental appropriations and declaring an emergency.
Okay. Also, Michelle, thank you.
This one's pretty short and sweet as well. We just need, the heater and AC went out at Walnut Street, and so we need to appropriate around $13,200 for that. That was unexpected, unplanned, so that's why it's coming to you as a supplemental. And then we received a reimbursement from Cresco for aid to construction, so we're wanting to put money back to the electric operating fund for around $15,000. And if
Okay.
you have questions about the heater, Johnny could probably answer more.
Well, I have one question. Excuse me. So when the heater goes out, we don't have like sort of like a miscellaneous fund that somebody, like something on some of our properties is going to break somewhere. Is there some threshold where it's like because it was this amount, or does every non-budgeted item follow?
Yes, so community, or the 201 South Walnut has its own line items, and $13,253 exceeded every bit of maintenance fund that we had.
Okay.
So that we had to transfer the funds to today to be able to pay the bill. We had to get heat back in the building. The little heater was not going to keep the water from freezing on January 3rd, and they actually closed down and sent people home so we could get it back up and running emergency.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Michelle or Johnny? Okay, thank you. So now we'll open the public hearing on ordinance 2026-02. Seeing nobody, we will close the public hearing. And then Amy, I guess any other questions? All right, and then Amy, if you don't mind.
Sure, we'll call the roll on ordinance 2026-02. Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Councilmember Samari?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Shu?
Yes.
President DeBoer Leonard?
Yes. Okay, the next thing up is Resolution 2026-03, and I guess, Amy, if you could read that by title only.
Sure. This is a resolution approving dues for Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission for 2026.
Okay.
This is just the annual dues. We have to have passed legislation. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I think we needed a motion.
Oh, sorry, a motion? I'll motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, now.
This is the annual dues. They have to vote on it to pass to be able to pay the bills for the annual dues. They require it.
Okay.
And this is also the board that Samir and Brown is
Okay.
president, or the lead and backup.
Are there any questions?
Is that a typo, or where it says 2025 on there? Or the second whereas?
I would say it's a typo.
Yeah, it's a typo.
Yeah, that would be a typo.
And so when we catch typos, we can just fix them without,
If it was following the hereby resolves, then we would make a motion to fix. Since it's in the recitals, it's not going to affect the impact of the resolution.
but good catch. Extra points for catches. Okay. All right, well, I think all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. And I saw y'all, are you worried that we didn't do the first, should we go back on the other one?
I was worried about a motion on 2026-02, but I checked with
Okay, did it? Okay. All right,
Crown and we're good.
so that's all we've got on public hearings and legislation, and so now we're in citizen concerns. This is the part of the agenda where anybody can come talk about anything within 3 minutes. So, go for it.
Hi, my name's Mitzi Miller. I am going to ask for a little extra time because I'll be reading, and I've got a disability. This was not announced, so I will announce it. The James A. McKee Association is presenting a community conversation on Short Street, and it's called Voices from the Village, on January 21st, which is tomorrow, from 6 to 8, in the Bryan Gymnasium. And we're hoping community members, businesses, and government individuals, council comes to that just to listen, to get input. Gavin, you made a really good point about, making sure we have data and research, and our panelists have been encouraged to provide input that addresses those concerns. So I think that's real important. The other thing I'd like to address, there's two more. One is that when our village manager asked you all for comments about what you would like to see from the presentation coming up, the one thing I didn't hear was I'm real concerned about, I'm non-biased and very open-minded. What I do want to see in this presentation is that somehow there's an outreach to villagers, if it's passed, of them having a village voice in ideas, what they would like to see in this area. And I didn't hear that. And so I'm hoping in the planning that that's an issue that maybe we could have a town hall and let villagers have an opportunity to add input to that short street development. The other thing that I did, which was really interesting, and I did this because I'm a very visual person and I have to see concerns, and the concern of safety at the school regarding Short Street. I spent 4 days in the morning at 7:40 to observe that whole scenario, which was very interesting, and I got a lot of good insight about it, and the 4:30. I did put it online, and I'm taking the opportunity now to take people out to show them my concern. But with our grant proposal that our village manager is looking at, I strongly feel, and I feel like I have the documentation to show it, I think it's highly warranted that we have a school traffic study done. And if that grant can help pay for something like that with signage, I think it's real important. And the other thing, by taking people out and showing them my concerns, there are currently temporary signage issues that I feel strongly need to be addressed now before we get this grant. My question would be, when will we get the grant? When do you think you'll know once it's in? Is it 6 months, 5 months? But there is temporary signage, I think, that needs to be addressed now for the safety of our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, and welcome to the new faces. I'm Carolyn Mullen. I'm here representing the Yellow Springs Senior Center, and I have 2 points I wanted to mention. One is that I have seen the traffic study that was completed by the Windsor Group, and they provided, I believe you all have seen it, I'm not sure. But I wanted to clarify that when I presented my concerns about our future proximity of the Windsor Group to the council in July, the stipulation by the council to Windsor was that the senior center would be taken into account in that traffic study. And I have now seen the document, and there is no mention at all about the senior center. There's no talk about our potential parking complications or our potential alternate mobilities that people have when they come to a senior center. So I would ask for the council to please follow through on that rather than just accepting the traffic study as it is. The other reason I wanted to touch base with you all is that I'm hoping that we might be able to work together, the village, the township, several other organizations for a grant opportunity. The AARP Community Challenge grants are available annually. The Senior Center alone has applied a few different times. I think one time recently the village applied also. But collaboration really wins points on these grants. And I particularly would like us to pursue their flagship Community Challenge grant, which is built to strengthen disaster resilience. And particularly after hearing Johnny talk about how 911 was overwhelmed during a crisis, a power outage, but it was not a life-altering emergency. I would love for us to work on community outreach, education, lots of processes that could be in place so that people don't respond immediately in fear. So again, I would love for the senior center to be a partner in that. I would like to work more with I think the Community Foundation could probably partner with us on that, the Health Department, the Greene County Council on Aging. We may even be able to get an Encore Miller Fellow that would support us in this, and I've begun an outline, so if you all could find somebody on council or a staff person to help with that, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Any other citizen concerns?
Hi, Amy Bailey. I'm with the school board. I just wanted to take a minute and welcome our new members and congratulate you on your new roles. Our newly seated school board held its first meeting on January 8th, at which time I was appointed as the village council liaison on behalf of the district. As we continue to navigate the logistics of opening our new facilities, I also want to thank the village staff for their ongoing collaboration and patience. This project has not been easy, and we truly value the time and expertise the village staff have brought to the table. My hope is that we continue to keep the safety of our children at the forefront of every decision that we make. I also appreciate and look forward to hearing your upcoming agenda items this evening regarding the future meetings with other taxing agencies and the Safe Routes to School grant. While our administration already maintains a strong working relationship with village staff, I'm very much looking forward to getting to know each of you and working together to represent and support the district in the year ahead. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen concerns? Okay, we'll keep going into special reports then.
You can close it.
Oh, close the,
Yeah.
close it?
I
Close
think you
the
closed the
citizen
citizen.
concerns?
Oh,
Okay. All right, so now special reports, and I think it's listed on the agenda as 30 minutes. We had talked in agenda planning, you'll probably do like 20 minutes and then
I'm hoping to make this
10
one
minutes of
fast.
questions-ish? Okay, all right.
First, I say thanks to Cameron. He actually put all this together for us, and he did a fantastic job. Literally took Pages and the electric department and Tanner's, the street department, and Brad's, the water department, Samantha's, and mine. It's probably about 145 pages, if I'm not mistaken, of documents. I mean, Paige had 47, she got it down to 7. So we will actually make that part of a website and probably send out some links on YS Connect so people can review, because we're only hitting a couple things out of their report, and there's a lot that they want to show the community as well. So we'll get those links out there to where you can see everything that the police department and all the other departments did for the total year versus just seeing a little highlights. First, we'll get into administration. Last year, I got to meet Governor DeWine and talk about some infrastructure things while he was at WYSO. It was actually January 27th. It was on my 11th anniversary for the village, so that was kind of a special thing for me. Elise Jardullo was sworn in as the assistant village manager, and then we had some work sessions. As you can see, we were doing some collaboration around some zoning things there on the highlights of that. Let's see, then we hosted Greater Dayton Area Mayors and Managers for the first time. We hosted them in January at Mills Park Hotel, which we had a great attendance. We had Cresco come and do a presentation on medical marijuana, which actually caught the ears and eyes, and they was able to give the other managers oversight of the legal ramifications and the legal results of that facility. We hosted the EPA when Kim gave us a check. I think it was for $165,000 for one of our projects, which was able to help finish off the House Bill 168 change orders to the project. So we was able to receive that funds. We was able to tour Cascades Phase 1. That is the picture right there with the team. And we launched, I've been talking about it for a year, and I was able to finally succeed in launching a new managers group because a lot of people are retiring or they're getting elsewhere, and you go to the managers group, and some managers have been there for like 25 years, and they have their own people, and you want to be able to talk to somebody that knows what you're going through. I started off with 4 on the first meeting, and tomorrow I go to another meeting, and we're actually having 12 new managers. And myself and Amber from West Carrollton are the tenured managers, and I've been in 2 years. So the managers around the community are changing around the Dayton area. So it's a great group. We get there, we're able to discuss ongoing problems and issues that we're having that is new to us, but maybe it's not new to somebody like Heber Heights or Vandalia, but they're also new managers as well. So just a great group of people that we can actually, then we go to the bigger managers meetings, and now we have somebody to be able to talk to and share information with as well. Challenges, being able to align, and I think we got a great energy going forward right now, so work sessions are going to be great, so I look forward to that. Limited staff capacity, we had talked about that earlier, is the amount of work that this small team does. We're small and mighty, but we're getting burned out pretty fast. So we need to, when we set our goals, we need to make them realistic so that staff can also have a work-life balance and council can have a work-life balance, because this is not your full-time jobs either. But with the village, it seems to be a full-time job, so we want to be able to enjoy it. We also want to be able to create the work that you guys deserve to see versus rushing to get everything done, because you're finishing up another one and you're running right into another one. So the work-life balance and making sure that we're not overwhelmed all the time, and we have time to complete the projects. So then we get into the water and wastewater, which is Brad's area. And like I said, Bennett come a little early, so Brad is off for a couple of weeks. He was able to replace all 4 chlorine dosing pumps this year. We was able to drill the monitoring well that was actually, we got a grant for, or from the EPA. It was for 2 wells, and they was only able to drill 1 because they could not find water where they had wanted us to do it. Plus, we was working with the Glens, and we couldn't do some areas because it's considered an Indian burial ground, which totally surprised us where the wells were, exactly where they wanted us to drill. And we're like, nope, can't do it. So we was able to find 1. We have resubmitted for grant reimbursement, so we should be getting that money here in the next week or so.
On,
Yes.
on.
Jacoby?
Okay,
Yes.
okay, that makes sense.
So actually where we wound up putting it, Carmen, is actually we don't have to leave the road now. It's literally on the back path going towards the back area. So we installed new ultrasonic level sensors at the wastewater treatment plant. You'll see the pictures of them in that top picture. Brad had that done. It creates better data for us. Improved the underground pumping and reducing chlorine injection buildup was one of his highlights. Staff training certification. Jeff got his Water 1, and Dale got his wastewater 1 license, which was a big feat for them because they come from another department and they had other licenses, so they was able to get their treatment license. So that was a big win for that department. And they started using the iWorks tracking system on maintenance, so getting into maintenance and they're tracking their maintenance so they can predict and try to see problems ahead when things start happening. The wastewater treatment challenges is the SCADA alarms have been giving them issues with the lab and regular requirements. On the other one is the pump and the blower that we had discussed during capital projects. That is another huge one that is scheduled for this one because we're down to one. So that is some of the infrastructure aging that we got to get done. And then another challenge is 38-year-old blowers, and they need to be replaced, and they're not cheap. They're not made anymore, so we have to do a whole nother design. Hopefully, and with the study that we're doing, by moving them outside, it will incorporate into the new system that is being planned for. The electric, the first picture I want to highlight that. It did not make this, but I want to highlight the Light Up Navajo that council has allowed us to go out twice now. I went with the team this year. It's phenomenal. I actually took that picture of Alex climbing on the pole. The dude's a beast when he climbs a pole. And it was just a phenomenal time. And for somebody to never have electric to get electric, we take a lot of things for granted. It made me personally, going to flip on a light switch at the house when these people would literally have to go get a generator or something like that, and then they'd have to go 20 miles to get fuel and get their water. So it was a great time. Center Circuit construction, to get back to the report, Center Circuit construction started, hoping to get it wrapped up this year or at least get it almost completed this year. We was able to install the 7 new reclosers that we bought in 2024. They're online, and we was able to get the residential demand meters installed for the all the residential. It's 100% tantalus. There's full AMI now on the residential, and we also changed out the demand electric meters as well. Highlights, working with the metering department and collaborating with the linemen. Rose would put in the tickets and they would go change out the meters. 2 of our linemen have finished their second year. They're in their 3rd year of apprenticeship. I actually said that wrong. They're in their 4th year of apprenticeship. They finished their 3rd year. Ben Sparks was one of the first graduates from the line school from AMP. He was in the first graduating class, so he is officially considered an Ohio lineman. He can go anywhere he wants now and carrying a card that says he's a certified lineman. So he wanted to take the class just because he was already a lineman, but he didn't have to have that paper. It was years of experience, and that way if the staff needed questions answered, he already knew. He'd already been through the program. Challenges for the electric department in 2025 with the new growth that we're seeing. They did over 100 service releases just on electric. 15 was the average historically. So, and we did that by able to use all internal staff to be able to do that, which by having the extra linemen, it made it easier to achieve, but still 100 in 1 year when they're trying to do everything else at the same time. Revenue, they was able to pick up some of the installing of the underground wire that Fisher Homes now pays us because they could not get contractors to do it. They wouldn't install it under the pedestals, so Ben come up with an hourly charge. Now Fisher Home pays us to install the wire and put it in the pedestal, and they pay our staff's time and the cost of the wire. And then limited, one of his challenges is limited staff to be able to work on the center circuit, and we're working on trying to get that as well taken care of. Successor for the water distribution, new residential water meters were installed. Actually, Rose and Travis, I think they've got it down to less than 20, and we're working with Amy on some other questions on that. Staff was able to start doing all the internal redoing of the fire hydrants. They actually take it off, they bring it back in-house, they paint them all up, they get all the parts ordered so we have good functioning hydrants. And then if you see, it's not the GoPro on the fire hydrant, it's actually a new system that we got that will monitor. It's an ALFX system that Ben was able to research and he got into, that actually is predicting where the water breaks are. We actually found one at Antioch College, if you guys remember last week, that actually had been pinging for a while, but then we was able to correlate between two places, and we was able to find exactly where it was. Actually, it was under a big old tree, it was a big old sycamore tree, and we did not damage the sycamore. We had to go out and around. Antioch got it fixed. So, but that was found because of the system. So it was about 21,600 gallons a day. And if we'd have not found it, which it was going down a storm drain, so we did not know that it was leaking, except for this system told us it was leaking somewhere, because it was literally broke, draining right into a storm, going into the storm drain, dumping into the Glens. So therefore, we would have never found that leak. It was before the meter, so literally it would have just went to our water loss. So I appreciate Ben looking into different technology to be able to help us find the water loss. Highlights for the water department, being able to replace and fix the hydrants in-house. It's costing us some labor, but it's a hydrant now. When Ben and I first got here, hydrants were about $750 for a complete hydrant. Now they're $6,000. So if you want a complete hydrant from the top to the bottom elbow, it's $6,000. So we have took on the internal maintenance and changing them out and changing all the internal parts. It's cheaper to do that in-house. And so we are saving a lot of money by doing so. So a lot of good things going on. Exercising valves is a challenge for the team, because if you turn the hydrant or if you turn the valve and it breaks, you now got to have the money to dig it up, fix it, and replace it. So we have stopped the unidirectional flushing valve exercising until we get corrected with the finances to be able to dedicate time and money to that process. Another one is when we was doing House Bill 168, we discovered that we have 5,500 feet more of 2-inch galvanized line that we did not know about. And that is 2-inch down to 1.5 inches. So we're currently looking for another about $2.5 million grant to be able to do so. And we actually do believe that that is where a lot of the water loss is because we started making good headway when we got the House Bill 168 2-inch water lines done. You could see a main difference with the water loss. So
You're like, oh, it's 1943 in
yeah,
here.
it was 1943.
Oh,
It worked very well. It worked very well. Successes, Travis and Rose have done phenomenal on installing this tankless system, getting the water leaks. They're literally reaching out to homeowners and saying, hey, you had a problem last night about 2 o'clock in the morning. You may have a toilet leaking in one of your toilets, and they have been able to do that. Travis is taking more of that role now because Rose is transitioning to working in utilities more and helping train Travis. So Travis will be sending out some calls and some emails and telling people that they have high water bill. We're also looking at maybe in 27 getting an app to where you can literally have it on your phone. You'll be synced up to your water meter. You'll be able to check your water meter usage on a daily basis. And we are also talking about changing to where you're not read on 1,000 gallons, but to the gallon. So that would also help with somebody's water bill, not paying for the full 1,000 until you actually use that full 1,000. So collaborating with the electric and water department was a good highlight for them. Learning about new technology, that is the middle picture. Rose and Travis went over to Indiana to a conference. And the ability to learn other tasks was another exciting time for them. Adapting to the new water meter technology was a challenge because they had to learn it. Even the Tantalus folks ran into problems in the village because of the trees and different systems that we had into place. So Rose was phenomenal. She could probably train every Tantalus installer from now on, but we are so happy that she is continuing with the village. And she was very focused on, if there was a problem, she was bound and determined she was going to fix it and figure out why it happened. So they worked very well as a team to get that job done. How am I doing on time? Streets and parks, safe routes to school improvements have been done. We are still working on the old safe routes to school plan. That is why we're submitting for a new one so we can keep the flow going. Another one is upgrading of some of the parks that we've done and the community gardens, as well as the dugouts for the school softball teams, or for the softball fields, I should say, not just the schools. The ADA accessible improvements that we've made, the pool facility had a lot of things done, a lot of the concrete edges and new trip hazards were taken care of. They just pulled out the pool pump, and actually we suspected that there could be a warranty issue, so it is actually there now again, so we are prepared for when the pool season comes. So they are looking at the pump again. And the community gardens on Bill Duncan was complete, and they are in the process. If you have driven by Corey Street, you'll see that is not a McDonald's footers going in, just for the record. I may have started that rumor, but it is not. It's the community gardens. Tanner and his team are doing a fantastic job over there to be able to get that deer fence and get the gardens looking good on that one. They was able to get the bronze plaques in for the 365 as well, and they're located right there beside the bike path. Highlights addition to the 2 or 3 that we had, we was able to replace 2 more of the guys that we needed. And, Michael and Darius come aboard. They're doing a fantastic job. Cured in place piping, the CIP program, we had to pause because of the finances. We got another one, I'll send you guys a memo. We got a discounted price. We're waiting to close out the year end before we do anything with it to see if it's even feasible, but they decided that they would take 10% off if we wanted to pick it back up in 2026. So we need to look at the money because Northwoods is on the verge of collapse, so we should get it done prior to it collapsing. And they're willing to give us 10% off because we've done some work with them in the past. So more to come on that one. It could be a work session as well.
Random little question about
Yep.
that. Do you expect pricing to go down as, like, there's been a glut of money, right, for projects?
Yeah.
Will you, are these discounts, you think, like, are companies going to be looking to keep work and then?
I think that's what you're seeing. You're seeing companies that are taking some of the labor cost, because some of the material costs have went skyrocket, and they're discounting their labor, and this is what they're doing. The material is costing them more, but they're discounting their labor and discounting some of the profit that they was probably going to make just to be able to keep the work going, because a lot of their projects have been stopped because of the increase in cost.
Yeah.
Asphalt, we got Valley Asphalt sent us the price increase, and it's 15% higher for asphalt. Well, the only way you're going to make that up is if the contractor takes the less, or if village staff does it, you know. So I would say you're correct on that one. You're going to see labor come down because the material's not coming back. The new CDL requirements is one of the big challenges. You used to be able to train in-house, and the new laws make it to where now you have to pay, I think it's $6,000 a person, maybe $4,500, to be able to sit in class and be trained how to drive a truck. I agree with that, and I don't agree with it, so we'll leave it there. But it's good business for somebody. So let's go to the police department. Community outreach specialist, we added a second one, which she is doing fantastic. You know what, I forgot. Let me stop. Announcement. Florence Randolph was issued the Peacemaker Award at the Martin Luther King celebration yesterday. I could not have been more thrilled for her. She's so well deserved, and her speech and her acceptance was phenomenal. If you did not see it, I would highly encourage you to go back. Actually, the whole thing yesterday was just phenomenal to be there and to see Florence get the award and then see the spoken word and then the main speaker. It was phenomenal. I would encourage the Roadhouse Choir, man, top notch. And if you want to see one thing that gives you goosebumps, listen to the soloist, Chloe. I cannot think of her last name. That girl can sing. Wow. So just a little side note there. Sorry, I got distracted. Squirrel. And so community outreach specialist doing a great job. Dispatch modernization protocols was another success. Grant funding, Paige was able to secure the almost $100,000 grant for the barricades. You'll see that they was loaned out to Xenia to use it for their holiday lighting activities. That's part of the grant process is we said we would share with other communities around the area, and as they're getting theirs, they're allowing us so we could literally share back and forth. The leads audit was fully achieved, meeting with the FBI standards on sensitive law enforcement data. I know her challenges is retention and staffing challenges, number one. It seems to be we get them trained up and we can't keep them. They're going other places, and that could be because of more places to grow in the department that they're moving to. Pay seems to be competitive, but maybe pay is an issue too. But a lot of it is I think we're just so small, but we still got to have the same training. We got to still have it, and people are just snatching them right and left and taking them on, and they have different positions that they can go into. Increased demand of government shutdown spiked 177% in the fourth quarter for Florence and the Danny there. That was a big challenge as well for them, and Community Foundation and the community just stepped up to the challenge and kept Danny and Florence able to help and provide assistance for the community. Operational adjustments were required due to unexpected challenges in municipal courts. That's when we lost our advocate and our court prosecution, so we picked that up. Currently, we are court advocate or the victim advocate for Jamestown and Cedarville. They pay us for them services, and we are actually revisiting that to see if we're going to continue that for them or if we're just going to do it for ourselves. Partnering with Fort Paws for Ability, we are on dog number 4, Slinky, Porter, Zerg, and now we have Brother. So they don't compare, none of them compare to Slinky. Slinky was my best one, but Brother's doing good. He's got some special attentions for his barking. So it's actually a great relief. If you want a stressful day and you want to go just sit down and pet the dog for a minute, or have the dog go to a business or to the schools. It's a tremendous thing for the kids. It's a calming thing for the kids. So the partnership was great with Four Balls for Ability. And actually, Paige is talking to other fire department and other police departments to try to get into the same program. It's one thing to have a canine, but when we have a therapy dog to be able to just be able to take into schools or take into a business, it's a different, it's not a canine, it's an actual, just get your stress out by petting the dog. So finances for Michelle, budget and oversight, she was able to do a great job. We got the levy on the ballot and passed. That was a big success for us. It was actually our first time doing that for the new administration and some of the council members as well. Some of the highlights is the interaction between the staff and the council during the budget session. You'll see that Ben's been able to get it to where you can see both things happening at the same time. Shout out to Ben for his job that he's doing. Cameron for the breakdown of the dollar. I've been trying to get that done for 10 years probably. Cameron's like, I can do that. And I was like, and literally hour, he come back and he's like, is this what you're talking about? I was like, you're phenomenal. So, because it does tell a sign on the breakdown of the dollar. So challenges is a timekeeping system that we got, and we've been working with a new company. We're trying to get it, but it's really given us some problems. So we are looking at having another meeting before we try to see if there's something else out there. Rising operating and capital costs, and being able to plan for those better. And staff have an increased workload requiring careful balance between daily operations and long-term initiatives. So that was, I think that was on the challenges for the finance. Planning and zoning, well, one of the challenges is we don't have a planning and zoning right now. So hopefully you'll see that job description go out by mid next week. Some of the challenges are going to be is I know of 3 other communities that's looking for the same, and our pay is not there where theirs is, and they're larger facilities or larger communities. So we will interview the best and see what we get, and we are a great community to work for, so I think that'll be a sell to the next person that's wanting to come in. Meg seems to be doing good where she's at, and we miss her. We miss Denise Swinger as well. So we will see what we get for the third one, and hopefully we can keep them a little bit longer. But I will say Aaron is doing a fantastic job. He's picked up some of the shortfall that we've needed, and he's doing phenomenal. He's doing as much as he can, and if he can't answer it, then we shift it on to the contractor, or we'll phone a friend, or we'll reach out to Amy and see if she can answer the question. Judy's been a big help as well, so we'll see what we can get posted in the next week or so. Major developments and capital projections. That was a success for Springs Meadow, the Windsor Group, the schools. Schools is a fairly large program and fairly large electric load coming online. I think it's next week. Large electric load. We're going to see probably about 1,400 amps of the school, and that's more than what they did in the old school. So their large heating load, I believe it may be even this week, is coming online. So another reason why getting the center circuit up and running to be able to help out for that. Major permits, 9.5% increase. The permits, 186 permits total, 169 last year. But you can go all the way back to 22 is 114. And if we went further back, those numbers just, when Greene County was running it, it was probably in the 80s. It wasn't very much. So we have some more with Springs Meadow 3 and 4, with Windsor development, we'll probably see that, if not beat that, for the next year. Highlights, the 314 Dayton, the YSO building is nearing completion. That should be a highlight. That building, if you have not toured it, I would recommend on the grand opening that you tour it, because it is phenomenal. Springs Meadow Development, Phase 1 and 2, there is only, I believe, 19 lots left on them first two phases. So that is a success, because they thought it would be 4 or 5 years to develop that, and it's not been that long. Permitting and construction, $18.3 million worth of projects value. The challenges is the absence of the planning. Permit distribution and payment issues was going in a different direction to the wrong email, so we got that taken care of. And that is that one. Digital media, the Grapevine was a huge success. Again, we tried for 6 years to get that out there. And we ran into a little snafu this last couple of times. We've been getting back a lot of copies that were not delivered. So we're working with the U.S. Mail Department to figure out why they're not being delivered to every address that they're supposed to. So Ben is working with the postmaster to get that taken care of. We launched the YS Connect app, and I believe it's almost 1,800, if I'm not mistaken. That is phenomenal. And I tell my buddy Eric from Tip City, hey, we've got you beat, and you started yours ahead of us, because they're like at 400 or 500, and we're a lot of people want to know what we're doing. So, but it's a great app to be able to get some information out to the community in a very fast and timely manner, and to let them know what's going on. There is a new feature on there that's, has it on live yet? New feature, Ben brought it up there and put it on there. Report a power outage to try to save the dispatch phone. This is a button you click, you enter your address, your name, and it is emailed to dispatch, and it is emailed to the electric superintendent. So you can free up the phones. If you do that, they'll be able to get your address. We know you're without power. You don't need to call us. And dispatch will be monitoring that when they are on duty for power outages as well. So thanks, Ben, for getting that on there. The news media team consists of, or the Grapevine team consists of Elise Jardulo, Ben Gunther, Cameron, and Aaron. They did a phenomenal job this year. They've been getting into some businesses and talking to some different businesses this time, or this coming one. It's not out there yet, but it is Friends Care. So you'll be, it's a good read about Friends Care. We call them the communication teams, and they do everything from social media to the website, which hopefully will be launching in the first quarter, fingers crossed. So they're working on that as well. Finding vendor for the new website was the challenges. Legally, contracts, they have to pass the muster of our solicitor, and finally we found one that passed the muster of our solicitor. So worked through them challenges, but got it conquered. John Bryant Youth Center, Samantha's doing a fantastic job down there. If you're having a bad day, you could also walk in there and be smiling in no time soon with all the kids in there. She does a fantastic job. She averaged probably 15 to 16 kids a day in there at the evening time. This for ages 10 to 18. Volunteers engagement. I know some council people have been in there and volunteered time. I encourage other council members to do the same thing. Pool operation, that's a success and challenge. Success is when it goes right, challenge is when it doesn't go right. And lifeguard training, Samantha and I just had a conversation today. She's got 3 of them that are not coming back, so you'll see lifeguard positions and pool positions. Application request, February 1st is when she's talking about putting it out there. Again, it's some of it's paid because other people around that maybe have inside pools pay a little bit more, maybe longer hours. So that's a challenge as well. Bad weather's a challenge. It could be too hot to swim. It could be too rainy to swim. So pool will be painted again this year. And let's see, transportation, and Carolyn just left. We're going to get with the senior center about maybe working with them to help transport some of the kids around to different activities as well, locally and things like that. So Samantha's going to reach out to them. Success on, or another challenges is pool infrastructure and staffing challenges. But then again, the last swim of the day is with the dogs. So she wanted to put that picture in there. Questions and concerns?
Thanks, Johnny. Questions, concerns, anything from council members?
I do have a question about how you mentioned, like our village workers are contracting to do some Spring Meadows work, because they had trouble.
Yes.
But then you also said that then there was a note up there that said that we are hiring contractors also?
We're hiring contractors to do other things, but nothing in Spring Meadows.
So how does that balance out? Like, is it, because of workforce, it said because of workforce that we're hiring other people to do that? I'm just, asking that, like, what's the balance on that we're, we're contracting out, but we're also contracting in, so.
Some of the things that we contract out, our staff cannot do because they're doing too many other things, like changing out a big 3-bank corner pole, that requires dedication, and some of our staff can't do it because they only have 8 hours in a day and they could be called to do something else. So our contracting services have went down, but some of the stuff that we need to contract out because it's beyond our capability, we do contract out.
Beyond capability or beyond, like, labor
Behind-
resource?
Beyond capability and resource, if it makes sense, because we could literally have our guys tied up in the switch station and they wouldn't be doing anything in Springs Meadow. The contracting work that we're doing in Springs Meadow, we have to wait on a contractor to put the wire in, so we might as well do it ourselves and get paid for it. If you're working inside the switch station, not everybody we only have 4 qualified people, Ben, Dwayne, Lane, Alex, and myself, and I'm not going back out there and working in the switch station when I got other things to do. What if it's necessary? But he can't rely on other departments to help, so he may need help inside that area, is the only reason why we would be hiring contractors.
Other questions?
I wouldn't say question. First of all, I think this, again, for myself, was enlightening and also gives me an even greater appreciation of all the things that you guys do, staff. Really, like, there's a lot of wins inside of here. We won't name them all, but the smart meters, the Wise Connect app, things that other people can see that affect the day-to-day life is pretty amazing. I will say that one of the key takeaways that I think I got out of this is that a lot of the challenges that you listed off didn't seem operational. It really, I'm looking at this from the lens of a council member. It seemed like it was really about, like, clarity, prioritization, and, like, alignment, right? And those are things that I think we can, with this group, hopefully adjust, piggybacking off of what Carmen said, that it gives us real leverage without adding stress to staff, right? which hopefully will then alleviate a lot more issues as well. So I think you all have been very well suited in reacting and correcting issues. And I think now this is the foundation that we can build off of to really move forward. And so I'm very happy that we have 3 new members, not about anything about the past 2, because we actually pushed for that retreat. And it seems like this is perfect timing for Friday based off of what we saw. So this is a phenomenal foundation, and hopefully we can pick up on it on Friday once we kick off that retreat.
That's music to a lot of people's ears.
Yeah.
That really is. It really is.
I would again, as soon as we get them launched, I will make sure that I send out information on YS Connect, because even though this was great, phenomenal, this is like a tenth of what the staff really wants everybody to understand, the day-to-day things that they do. And it's other projects that I said, pick and choose, and, we're going to condense this because there's so much more that people don't see that's being done. And so I really challenge every one of you to go in and look and see every report that the staff did.
Yeah, I want to echo what Sinai said in terms of just the breadth, like having it all in one place. Obviously, we get the manager's reports now coming less frequently, but had them very frequently, consistently with lots of these pieces. But I hope that residents will take a chance to see the full breadth of this too, because I don't know, and it's an interesting challenge for us to figure out. We want to do all this stuff and more, and we have lots of people who want to do more things, and figuring out how to prioritize and budget is really hard. But I don't think anybody can honestly look at the totality of the work and not go, we're really trying. Really, like the staff is really trying. Right. So yeah, anyway, it was great to see it all in one place. Thanks for putting it together, and I look forward to seeing the full reports. That's great. Any other questions or discussion? Sure. This will be in the retreat. We'll talk about how we handle stuff, but yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I can shoot my shot.
Yeah.
There we go.
We haven't figured it out yet.
My name's Riley Dixon. I work for the local paper. I had a question about one point in the electric distribution slide where you said in the challenges column that you had 100 new switches this year, higher than like the average of 15. I guess I was just curious to know why that was in the challenge column. In past discussions, or like over the past year about the Windsor project, at every point when someone has asked, can the village absorb this many new people or this many new units, it seemed like the village has said, yes, absolutely, like it's not going to be a problem. So I guess my question is, in what regard is that increase in, I forget what the expression was, but like the turning on the power
Correct.
to those homes, in what regard is that a challenge for the village?
Okay, so that's a great question. So the challenge is that's added work for every one of those, right? So normally, a service release consists of going out, either putting the wire to the house or plugging in a meter.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is we had 100 that was all underground, that all needed wire put in, that either the contractor put it in or they had to dig it into the transformer because this is a new development. You had some over in Birch 3 as well, some Cascades, all the ones at Cascades. And all of that was put on top of the same staff that normally did 15 to 18, plus all the other work. So we had to make sure that we prioritize the work to be able to accommodate. Because, I mean, I can go back. Greene County used to do all the inspections. Now we house all the inspections. We hire it out, but we have a staffing person. So now we do our own service releases. They go to Ben. Ben puts them in. They got a work order. So you could literally be knee deep in mud doing 4 of those services a day, and that's the challenge is where do you fit in that extra work? Because we need that work to get done, so we have to make sure that things are prioritized to get it done.
So can I ask a follow-up question then? Like, so let's say,
Hey, Riley.
yeah.
So one more, and then if you got questions, let's
Yeah.
talk to Johnny. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. So if hypothetically, all the Windsor apartments were to be built tomorrow, what would make it less challenging for village staff to connect them to the grid?
If all of the Windsor apartments were built, Windsor will have a meter bank on the side of their house or on the side of their apartment. You'll have one service from the transformer to the meter bank, and you'll plug in 60 meters. Every house that's built, you got to put a wire.
Right, okay. Great, all right, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. We're going to keep rolling for now. So the next thing on the, excuse me, on the agenda is the manager's report.
Yeah, so I just want to highlight 3 things on the manager's report. One is, as you said, the manager's reports are going to go to the second meeting of every month. Will be a full manager's report from all the departments. The first meeting, you'll have a 1-page memo because it gives staff more time to be able to work and get things done, and then make sure that we have a nice manager's report once a month, and it'll be the same as a work session meeting. So you'll see that reduction. The other one is the annual reviews. I'm halfway done with the 8 that I need to do, so they'll be completed this week. And then the medication disposal box was installed. The Oddfellows purchased the box and a local resident, and we paid and had it installed. So if you have medication, old expired medication you want to drop off, it can't be needles. There's some things out there. You need to go to the YSPD website or the Facebook or wherever they can tell you what. And then a pharmacy will come and remove those from the building. But it's to the left of the dispatch window. It is locked. You can't get into it. You can't, it's not free. You got to dispose it.
Why are you looking at me like
I didn't.
Steal? Like, okay.
It was a general look.
Okay.
It's free drugs.
So,
Okay, great.
That is
And is it safe to say that
They tested.
we talked about memos earlier. I think this feels like a healthy shift to doing a longer one less often.
Correct.
So just if you have input for Johnny or Elise on things that you would like to see in the manager reports, they've come a long way. For at least Carmen and I have seen the major transition from, they've come a long way. And also, if you have any input, let them know.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Any questions for the manager? Okay. Now we're moving on to old business, and there is no old business, so we're moving on to new business. And the first thing up is discussion of the need to schedule meetings with other taxing entities. And that is me, so I'll just say I put a memo in the packet. We've talked about this before. In the past, we just kind of missed a year this last year. I'd be happy to talk about it if anybody has any questions or anything. I guess I hope it's relatively straightforward. So are there any questions or discussion about the idea of scheduling a meeting? The question ultimately on the table is, are we okay with doing it? And then we would try to schedule a meeting. I think probably like summer, early fall, like something before budget season and things get bananas, but not right away when we don't have our things together.
And we could shoot a memo to the other agencies to get the best that would work for them as well.
Okay, I'm going to take silence as your game. And so you can take the lead, Johnny, on scheduling.
Yep.
We have done it in the past.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
COVID days.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good meeting, but it was.
A lot of time for
and
meetings.
we were just like,
Yeah.
here's in boxes.
Okay, so the next thing on the new business agenda is the ODOT SRTS grant discussion, and that's you, Johnny.
Yes. So this is, again, a memo, so you can ask questions, and then we'll bring back legislation next time for the next two things that I'm going to discuss tonight. The Safe Routes to School, the grant is due in March, so we're trying to get this through. I have attached a map that shows the different areas, but one is a multimodal path from Dayton Street to Mary's Way, which would run in front of the schools. Engineering estimate is $854,038. There is a sidewalk on the Phillips Street opposite of where there is one now that's more on the school property, that they would like to have that connected from Limestone to Elm for another $208,989. Crosswalk enhancements for around the schools have been noted on the plan as well. And then the bike racks for 50 bike racks at the middle and the high school. The shelter did not make the cut. They feel it's a better use if somebody else was to do that locally, because it would not score very well for shelters over the bike. So they put a little note on there. So the total for the grant max that you can get is $1 million. What we would be asking for is for the village to allow us to come back with a $119,667 match that the schools would put, or that the village would put towards the application as a match fund if we was to get the $1 million. So the project would then be 100% funded. Our cost would be right at $120,000. This would be, I need to go back to Mitzi's question that she asked. I think this is submitting in 26 for a project in 29. So this is like 3 years from now.
Okay.
So, and if you guys was in, I know you all was in town, we submitted in 2019 for the multimodal on Dayton Street. I was like, oh my God, that's 4 years away. Well, it's here and gone, and it's installed. So time flies like that. So I believe it is a 29 design and installation on a 26 application. And the other thing is it does not include a traffic study, but I'll get some pricing on that as well.
Can I ask another question? I'm sorry.
You want to come up to the mic, Mitzi?
Can you share details about signage? A little more about what kind or what you're thinking about in that grant?
This was all from the engineer, so I can tell you what he's got: safety improvements near the elementary, middle, and high school, including curb bump outs, curb ramps, pavement striping, signage, and intersection upgrades. So he did not give me all the details, but he put a budget number in there for that.
But it's safe to assume that signage was one of the issues, so they've thought about.
Correct. And they would probably be flashing, the flashing signs.
Hey, are there questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in. I know we have Amy here. Given this long timeline, that actually caught me by surprise. I was not anticipating. That was my question, was the timeline. How much do we foresee, like, the interaction between council, school board, signage, temporary signage? There's construction now. There's so much happening between the village and the school district. How much interaction do we foresee in terms of this grant? And then, of course, with that, it's not in kind, the price match. Is that solely to the council, or does the school district take any of that cost as well?
Sorry, this is an application being processed by us, but the Active Safety Transportation Committee has a large weigh-in on this,
Okay.
which has school board members a part of as well. The school has actually been instrumental in both of them that we've got so far, because Limestone Street from Dayton to Walnut was a Safe Routes to School grant as well. And from Fairfield to Winter and to Dayton Street was also a Safe Routes to School grant back in 2016. So there is input from the schools on the design and all that. Once it gets past the design, if we get awarded, they'll be we'll get awarded, the design will happen, the schools will have input, and then once it's done, then the village would do the management of the whole entire project.
I'm sure we'll get into the weeds, because I think some of the things you brought up, Mitzi, are some questions that I have too, so I'm sure we'll have time to work that out. But that was very, very informative. Thank you.
And just to be clear, what you're mostly hoping for from this conversation, and so people can totally ask questions, but just at the end,
Correct.
The question is, what's the level of interest in having this back as a resolution? Because they're trying to decide, do they want to apply, like, is this going to be application? So just so everybody knows, that's the outcome that they're looking for, right?
Yes, we're looking for council wanting to see resolution to bring back, to be able to grant us permission to apply, because it requires a match dollar. If there was no match, council wouldn't even, sorry, the state would require a council resolution either way, but if it requires a match dollar, council requires us to come to ask permission. So I'm asking, number one, do you have any more questions that I can provide the next time or this time? And then if you want to see it come back, you could tell me, no, we're not interested, or yes, bring it back next council and we want to vote on saying that we're going to guarantee the $120,000 and move forward with the application.
So overall, I'm very interested. I think it's very important. I'm really interested to learn more about the East Enon multi-use path. I think both from a financial standpoint, $850,000 is significant, especially compared to parts 2, 3, and 4, which seem like, manageable. The match dollar expected for that wouldn't be significant. And so I think for that, it's both looking at the financials of it, because it's so significant compared to the rest of it, but also, I'd love to learn more about how much that section, the East Enon section, is being used right now. And considering, the connection to Mary's Way, I understand the priority or the interest of having that connection, but also the fact that, the two ends of it are not, from my understanding, it's not going into a residential section, it's going into open space on those two ends.
The multimodal path would go from Dayton Street to Mary's Way, and the high school uses that every day now because there is a 4-foot sidewalk that Mitzi and her team has uncovered. And then there's a 4-foot blacktop grass-covered path there. So this would literally be taking those out, putting it back in. So it would be used during school at least every day to be able to get to and from the high school from the Dayton Street multimodal path.
Okay. Yeah, so I would love to we can talk about it
Yep,
later too, the
absolutely.
specifics on that section where what you're talking about.
I got it. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Well, my question would be about the match of just only planning to have to match $120,000. You're confident that the whole $1 million grant will be awarded, or?
That is the max that the grant will allow, is $1 million.
So are you asking us to plan for the possibility of you getting less?
It will either be awarded as $1 million or not
awarded at all? Okay, thank you, yeah.
And $120,000 isn't a lot, but when you look at the budget, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So, and we're also thinking 3 years from now, if you've seen our projections, I'm being very cautious. I mean, we could throw $400,000 at it, but we also got to make sure that, because once you pass legislation, you're also saying that those funds are secured in 3 years,
Right.
4 years, that this is going to happen.
So, kind of following up on this, So could we apply for $1 million worth of projects and then have no match and have an equal likelihood of getting $1 million? Or is the match somehow in relationship with the likelihood of getting the money?
They always like to see a match, depending on the percentage and the points scored. I asked them to just, what would it look like if it was a $120,000 match to the million? And they still thought it would score very well, but unless you're gonna, I mean, the scoring's weird because you could be 16 points or you could be 5 points, depending on if you're putting in $500,000 or if you're putting in $499. You know, so it's a very, very tough scoring criteria. It's really going to determine for this Safe Routes to School how well the grant is prepared and presented. That's literally, I've been to Columbus twice to present for both grants, and literally we took Chris Bongiorno, Patty Bates, and some other people from the community to present to a group of 25 people for the grant.
But so you're saying, working with the engineers, you think that this is the kind of sweet spot of like you understand,
Yeah.
if we could get $1 million and not have to put in 120, that would be better.
Well-
So then I'm wondering, is there a way to trim it back? Or are you saying that's to get the scoring, this is the best possible balance? Because the interplay with the budget is a real thing, right?
Yeah.
It's 3 years down the road, so it feels like, oh, somebody else. And we have financial questions we have to address, and if you say yes to every one of the things, then eventually you have a challenge.
The only way that we could do it is if we would have to remove the Phillips Street, and that would be a $208,000 to be able to have no match. And that was the kind of it's better to have the match and be able to keep Phillips Street and all the other projects in there. Phillips Street.
So I'm just want to be clear. What I'm looking for is if the match is not necessary to get to the funding from the state, then I guess I would be looking at it going, well, could we do 30 feet, some percentage less of the $850,000 project so that we've done a lot, but then we have more to do.
I see what you're saying. And then
I'm just wondering, is
apply
there
for
any
me.
way to make it so we could get all the funds, as many of the funds
Right.
available, and
Right.
have, if that's an option, I'd love to know about it.
I
If it's
can
not
bring
an
it back.
option, then
Yep.
we just have to make a choice.
So the match is only required when it's beyond 1 million?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can
So-
only get $1 million. So I will ask that question, what does the match look like if we don't put a match in? How's it score? And
Or if
then
we
I can
don't
bring
need
it
it.
back to you.
Yeah, if we eliminate the need for a match, does that, change?
Scoring.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
So I think what I heard overall is there's some interest and there's some questions, and so then we would probably say, yeah, bring it back to us, try to get some of those questions. It sounds like if you have more in-depth questions, then people should
Correct.
contact Johnny in the meantime, and then otherwise we would talk about it again at the first meeting in February.
Correct.
Is that
That works.
aligned with what people are thinking? Okay. Mitzi's shooting her shot too. I blame Riley for starting it, but no.
No, I've worked with Johnny in the Active Transportation Committee, and the one thing I will say is as you're sitting here and you're hearing this, you have to go see what Johnny is talking about. It's not fair because safety is the most important priority for all pedestrians, all bicyclists. So please take the time to go look at the site. That's what I would say.
It's also an accessibility problem.
is.
Especially
Exactly.
for people who are non-ambulatory. It's a problem. It's a
agree.
really big problem over there.
Thank you for saying that as well.
Yeah,
There being the East Eden or also the Phillip, you mean?
both, all of it.
okay, I
Think
got it.
we're good? Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the EPA sewer capacity study. This was approved by council to be able to get a loan through the EPA for $59,000 to do a study for the wastewater capacity study for the wastewater treatment plant, for the lift station, and for the sewer force main. And filling out the extensive application that we have done, if we was to go over, it takes such a long time to get the funds to redo the application. The contractor, Wesler Engineering, has recommended to come back and ask if it is okay to increase that to $100,000. Not saying we're going to use it, but it would be $100,000. We could use the loan if it was problematic and we needed more money for the force main. That is where we think there's going to be a challenge, is on the force main inspections. It's a 0% loan. It is done through the planning and design, so there is a zero interest loan, and it would allow us to go above the $59,000 if we needed to do so on the force main. So it would require another resolution to be able to attach, but we don't want to finish the EPA loan process and then come back and say, man, I wish we'd have done it for X amount of dollars more, because now the easiest thing would be is to try to figure out how to pay that extra money. So I wanted to give you guys the opportunity for us to bring it back, to be able to ask for $41,000 more on the loan application, to be able to have a cushion if we needed a cushion.
Any questions or comments?
That makes sense. I mean, especially the unforeseen conditions.
Yeah.
This place is full of unforeseen conditions, especially with the infrastructure. It's piecemeal together.
Nobody has seen the force main since it was installed
Yeah,
in the 70s.
yeah.
So.
Does that mean that you see this as a high likelihood that this $41,000 gets tapped into, or?
I don't think all of it will be, but I think some of it could be. Because we're going to have to pothole the street, we're going to have to pothole the main, and we're also going to have to try to figure out how to divert the sewage from running in that pipe to be able to inspect it. So, but if you want to talk about what keeps Brad and myself up at night, it's the force main, and Tanner, so.
So I was wondering, the estimate of the 59,000 then, that was based, on a my understanding, right? So it means that number was not taking into the consideration that a lot of the infrastructure in this town is needing.
The more that they looked at it, they come back and are like, we're going to try, but we're not for sure. And then as we started the loan, I mean, I bet between Wesler, myself, and Michelle, we're probably over 30 hours in the loan application. So we want to make sure that we either do it and for 59 and not say, hey, we need to come back, because then we got to start the whole process over again.
Okay, so it delays
So,
the whole
it delays.
process.
Does the balance, like the extra, remain earmarked?
It is for the planning and the design stage. So literally, if we go from planning and looking to see what it costs, and then if we was to go into the design phase, then it would still be used for the design phase. And then construction is when it's a whole nother process.
So then they're giving us a loan. So is it 0%?
0%.
So what?
I highlighted it.
So what are 0% for how long?
If we don't do anything past this, then we would have to start making payments on it in 3 years.
Okay.
But if we go from planning and then we go to design, then we can get another loan. They keep on carrying. And then if you was to go into build, then you can roll all these loans into your build. And then once the plant's built, then you go for your 20 or 30-year loan, whichever you.
Well, I'll say this is kind of emblematic of some of the challenges that we have, right? It's every one of the projects that we end up talking about, you're like, that makes sense. That sounds like a good thing to do. It sounds like a good, loan product. The one before it sounds like a good return on investment. And you can only do so many things so many times, and so then how do you balance it? So most of these things we'll cover in the budget, but there are these things that come up kind of separately, and then in this case you could see it's like you won't feel this. Some of us won't even necessarily, like Carmen and I would have to be reelected to feel it. Is the way it'll work. So I guess I'm saying this just to say that I generally conceptually interested, and then also we have to start trimming somewhere if we want to address our deficits, and so just naming that that's a dynamic here. So when do we have to decide on, is this one like we have to know
February
now,
2nd.
or this would be at the next meeting?
Yes.
So you can,
Yes, I'll bring a resolution
we
back.
can mull it and then, okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, great, thanks, John. All right, we are through new business and now moving to boards and commissions. We probably don't really have anything because there hasn't, well, I guess
They
there was
met at
YSTC.
YSTC.
Yeah, okay.
Well, also Environmental Commission and Public Arts and Culture, it was too late to submit for the packet.
Okay.
This is really quick. So Public Arts and Culture is we're moving forward at full speed with planning for the semi-quincentennial programming, including shoring up speakers for the speaker series. We have a 6-speaker series, and the first one is at the end of February, and it is Dr. Jane Calvert. She's a former professor of history at UK, and her work focuses on like early American political thought and engaging civically, and how that looked way back in the day when we were just a little bit of a country. And she is also the chief editor of the John Dickinson Writings Project. So John Dickinson was one of the founding fathers, and he was, this is where the history nerd comes in a little bit. He was a non-signer because he thought that maybe we could do it diplomatically and not through war. And so he followed a lot of Quaker philosophy. He was Quaker adjacent. He was never actually a Quaker, but Jane's work focuses on him primarily. So she's the director of the John Dickinson Writing Project and editor. That is going to be on the 27th, and so the speaker series is going to be the last Friday-ish of the month, every other month starting in February. Let's see. So there's also a concert planned and a community barbecue in the fall, and all that stuff is going to be rolled out like in the next couple weeks. Environmental Commission. So this year, we're going to be focusing more, kind of less on pet projects. I mean, not that they're not important, but more on the work that aligns with the charter, and that is including sustainable building practices, conservation development, the community gardens, the watershed protection, and we'll be inviting the Little Miami Watershed Network to come and share information, and also looking at inviting builders to come and present on some of the zero energy ready housing with regards to affordability, because there's a lot of really cool stuff being done. There's also funding to retrofit some older buildings so that they're more energy efficient. So we're working on that and bringing people into the community that are actually doing the thing that we say that we want to do, right? So people who are physically building the houses, contractors that work with these new materials, getting their take on, how they work, what the difficulties like working with them, what are the challenges, what are the advantages. Because there's some really exciting stuff happening that way. So the Environmental Commission is going to be focusing on researching that stuff. And as for YSDC, I was barely there because I was in between, it was crazy. I had 4 meetings that day. And by the time YSDC came around, I was like, who am I? You have anything to offer?
As it pertains to this meeting, honestly, we've now know that YSDC acquired the former hardware store. It is moving along swiftly. Conversations took place regarding tenants, safety, and kind of timelines moving forward. It is a massive work in progress, and it's going to be a long, drawn-out process, so I don't expect there to be week-to-week updates where there's significant momentum. I think it's going to be a very nuanced project that's going to take a little bit of patience and a lot of maneuvering at the same time. So, but it is something that Carmen and I signed up for, and even though she was there only for a little bit, she made her voice known, and I also did as well from our vantage points as council. So I will keep everyone up to speed as see fit, but also let the YSDC members who are heavily involved in the process and the Community Foundation spearhead that conversation as well.
Great, thanks. So Carmen referenced it. In general, we would try to, if we have if your commissions or whatever have something in writing, then we put it in, and then this is the time on the agenda so that everybody can read it, and then like Carmen did and like Sinai did, then we would kind of, if there's things you want to highlight or, touch on, and for many of these, there's like somebody who keeps minutes and they're shared in all the bodies, but just so everybody knows, that's what this section, it's on once a month, right? This section, this is not on every meeting, but it's on once a month, right? I think that's right. And Judy would correct me right now, but she's not here, and I'll take advantage of that. Excuse me. Okay, so anything else on boards and commissions? Okay, future agenda. So, I feel like there's like a lot of moving parts on the some of the pieces related to the retreat and related to goals and related. So I think at agenda planning we should just double check that all the different pieces line up. But I think we've talked about all of them. It's just a matter of which ones go on at which time. Yeah, anything else that anybody's got? Okay. I'm not trying to rush that, so if you have, there's definitely a bunch of different things going on. We'll cover some of the stuff at the retreat on Friday, and then we'll have one sort of full regular council meeting on the 2nd, and then probably that abbreviated council meeting on the 17th with the majority of the time for the work session. I guess maybe I'll just say with the goals piece, and it's listed on here as values and goals. I think we're primarily doing values at retreat and then goals at the work session. But what we did last year, and so we can talk about whether it makes sense again, is basically everybody had a chance to write up what you want to prioritize, and then they all kind of went in the hopper. And then Judy puts them all in one sheet to say, here's all the goals, kind of organized by kind of area. And then at the last year, Elise facilitated. We haven't gotten as far as figuring out how that'll go, but at the goals session, then we would take everybody's things, and some of the things got agreed on as goals, and some of them didn't. And I assume we'll have something similar. So I guess just start preparing for the idea. There's not like a hard deadline yet, but preparing for the idea of sending in your goals to Judy. Probably around that, early February time. That sound about right? Okay. Just fair warning, basically. Okay, any other future agenda things? Okay, and then I see executive session on here, but that's just like a regular, is that just always there? Okay. Things you don't notice. Okay, well then I think we're in taking a motion to adjourn unless there's anything else anybody wants to say.
I move to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, everybody have a good rest of your night.